Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Video Game Takeout. It's time to break out your deck, because in this episode, it's all about one of my favorite games of all time, SNK vs. Capcom Card Fighters Clash. I'm going to assume that a lot of people missed this game due to the platform that it was released on. The game came out for the Neo Geo Pocket Color back in 1999. They did make a newer version for the DS, but apparently it's totally different and has a game-breaking bug that makes the game impossible to complete, so steer clear of that one. The Neo Geo Pocket was a short-lived system that, like its big brother, had a library full of great fighting games. It actually had a lot of good games, but it was kind of a too little too late situation, and it found itself up against Pokemon in the handheld race. On the plus side though, Card Fighters Clash borrows a lot from Pokemon and ultimately ends up being one of the best games on the system. Just like Pokemon, the game comes in two versions, a Capcom and an SNK version. Like Pokemon, both versions are identical, except that you start with different cards and there are a few cards that are only available in each version. No matter which version you choose, you'll still end up with a lot of the characters from each series, because you'll earn more cards as you play through, so really it doesn't matter which version you choose. So the game starts out with you on an overworld map where you walk around and talk to people. They eventually clue you in that there's going to be a Card Fighters tournament, and to get into it, you need a coin from every area in the game. The coins are the equivalent of gym badges in Pokemon, and you'll usually need to beat a tougher opponent to get one. Eventually, you'll meet people that will challenge you to a card clash game, and this is where the majority of the game takes place. You each have a deck that contains exactly 50 cards, and you get to choose which cards you want in your deck before you battle. I'm not going to get into the mechanics of the card battle system because the game has a great tutorial and it's really pretty easy. I think you could pick it up in about 10 to 15 minutes, which is pretty good compared to other trading card games. One mechanic I do want to talk about though is the ability to power up your characters. This is a really cool feature that allows you to raise the attack and defense power of your character by having another character back them up. A few of the backups are sort of random, but most of them involve characters from the same series as the main character, which is cool because it kind of rewards players who know all the franchises. Since I'm one of those players, I really enjoyed this part of it. Speaking of the franchises, this game covers a ton of them. From the popular like Street Fighter and King of Fighters to the more obscure like Captain Commando, this game digs deep into both companies' catalogs and brings a lot of recognizable faces, all redrawn in the super deformed art style that's really great for the handheld. The game does have a lot of fan service in it, but I think it's really fun and the battle system is really great, so it's not like they use the fan service to overshadow bad gameplay or anything. I also really love all the dialogue in the arcades and towns. There are a lot of crazy people in the towns and some good in-jokes if you're a fan of the games that it's based on. It makes talking to the people in towns less of a chore and more of a fun hunt for the next person to duel. If you're at all interested in card games, I'd highly suggest that you check this one out. It has a ton of recognizable characters and some really fun and silly dialogue. Combine that with a great card game, and you've got a winner. In fact, the gameplay in this game is so good that there is a site dedicated to making real cards based on the cards in the game. It's fan-made because the game never had an official card release, but I still think it shows how solid the actual card play is in the game. It may not be the deepest trading card game out there when compared to heavyweights like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh!, but it is a ton of fun, and as a game that was only released on the Neo Geo Pocket Color, it's one that many people probably missed. I'd say the only real downside to this game is that one of the most fun things to do in it is play against a friend. And finding a friend with a Neo Geo Pocket, and the game, and the link cable could be pretty tough nowadays. Luckily, the computer is fun to play against, and it has the fun exploration bits to keep you entertained. Plus, the game is super cheap, so if you have a Neo Geo Pocket, it should be an easy choice. Even if you don't have one though, it's pretty cheap to get, and you should definitely pick one up. This game isn't the only reason to own a Neo Geo Pocket, but it is a damn good one. That's it for this episode. If you want to see more, then head over to videogametakeout.com and check out all the great shows we have over on RetroWare TV. I owe a special thanks to Lance for last week's Star Wars intro. He made it, and I was in a hurry to get the show out, and I didn't get to thank him. Thanks to everyone, as always, for watching, and until next time, I'm Ben. Have a great week.